Hi, and welcome to the Transformational Retreats Summit, how to design, fill, and profit from premium transformational retreats. I'm your host, Courtney Love, PhD and retreat strategist for entrepreneurs who want to launch or grow a purpose-driven business that includes hosting transformational retreats for their clients. And today, I am super excited to introduce you to Mikaku. Is it Dolivek?
Dalavec, yes.
Dolivek. Mikaku is so super cool. He is the owner of Floating Leaf Eco Luxury Retreat. And I tell you what, when I see photos of this place online, I just start drooling. I want to go there and host a retreat there. Mikaku, thank you so much for joining us.
It's my pleasure, Courtney. So happy to be here. Thank you.
Yeah, I'm excited to chat with you today. So I'd love to share a little bit about Mikaku with you. He's been coming to Bali for over 25 years and loves to share the profound and unique culture of Bali. He and his wife Putu own and run the #1 rated retreat center in Bali, Floating Leaf Eco Luxury Retreat. Mikaku was a professor of art and photography. He is an award-winning educator and photographer and loves to share his passion for Indonesia and its many hidden wonders. He has written numerous articles on Bali's culture, art, mysticism, healers, and more. Mikaku landed his first guiding job at the age of 18 and most recently was awarded Travel Photographer of the Year. His passion is helping retreat leaders achieve their dreams of leading profound and lucrative retreats in Bali. Well, Mikaku, I know everybody wants to go and host their retreats in Bali. So I know they're going to love hearing what you have to offer today, but I would love for you to start by telling us a little bit about your story and why you started Floating Leaf.
Well, thank you. Sure. Well, I've been coming to Bali for many years, as you had mentioned, and I really fell in love with the culture and the people and the artwork and the surfing, and there was so much to it that I really loved, and I wanted to give back to those people who welcomed me into their homes and were just so graceful and generous and beautiful. So I wanted to do something that would also benefit them. My wife and I were leading retreats in Bali we've been doing that for about a decade now. And we didn't have Floating Leaf at that time. We were using other services. And as you may know, in some locations around the world, you can reconfirm things a dozen times and then it still doesn't quite happen the way that you had it planned. So we would be leading people, sometimes celebrities and VIPs and all this kind of thing, to Bali, and then the hotel would have a problem, the transportation would have a problem, or the spa or whatever it was. So we had this land that we currently have Floating Leaf on, and we donated that to the local village for many years, and they could use that however they wanted to grow whatever crops that they needed to, while we were figuring out how to best utilize that land. At this time, we were also studying the weather patterns so that we could build sustainably, have a permaculture garden and all this type of thing as well. So eventually we reached a point where it was unsustainable for us to lead retreats without being able to fully control the spa, the food, the transportation, the hotel rooms, etc. So we designed Floating Leaf as a retreat center, as a wellness center as well. That was from the first inception. Yoga and wellness were the key to what we were doing here. Yoga has become so big and popular. A lot of hotels will then build on a yoga shala and try to attract retreat leaders. But we kind of had the opposite approach, where that was the center of what we're doing. While all of the employees are not wellness experts, they're all very well trained in that. So we'll have a guest that's traveled halfway around the world and maybe isn't used to the food here. Maybe they feel a little bit ill. The staff, for example, is very good at picking up on that, offering them natural remedies and working with them in a real holistic manner. So there were a couple of reasons why we developed Floating Leaf.
That's super cool. So the other thing I want to ask you about is I noticed, straight away when I went to your website about this concept of eco luxury that you've created, where your center really aims to not only limit your negative impact on the environment, but also to create a positive one. So how have you created a luxury guest experience at your retreat center and with minimal environmental impact? What kinds of things have you put in place to accomplish that?
Well, our goal was to be a showcase for sustainable living without having to sacrifice comfort, technology, luxury, or even finances. We wanted to show that you could build a unique, beautiful structure, have every material sustainable within that. So we worked with we studied the weather patterns for here, the wind patterns and all that, so that we could build by capitalizing on what nature already offered us. We had studied other sustainable builds and used those technologies as well. We worked with a lot of local companies to help develop new materials for flooring, for sinks, bathtubs, walls, that type of thing, so that they could be more recycled and more eco-friendly. And we also worked with local companies to push some existing technologies. There's a lot of really interesting things happening with bamboo, for instance. So when we first started building 5-6 years ago, there was some technology in compressed bamboo and what that can do. And now that's just really advanced. You can use it even for outdoor decking at this point. So there's a lot of exciting things happening. At the time, we tried to be state of art with what we were doing, but even in the short span of 3 or 4 years, there's so much more out there as well. And we just try to show our guests that you can live this way, and it's not going to necessarily cost you more money. And you're not going to have to sacrifice your creature comforts either. We also have
Wow.
many community outreach programs. So we're a pillar of what we do is really reaching out and supporting the communities that have supported us for so long and welcomed us in. So there's several community outreach programs you can see by going to the website, balifloatingleaf.com, review those. And they're really starting to get traction now and go island-wide. And we're very excited about that.
That is just incredible. I absolutely love that concept, and I think that's must be really cool for retreat leaders as well to know that when they're hosting their retreats and investing their money for their clients and everything at your location, that they're actually contributing to something like that, which is super cool. I love it. So Nakaku, the other thing that we're talking about a lot in this summit is transformational retreats. And in that, there's so many people doing retreats these days that, you can't just do a yoga retreat in Bali anymore. Like, you really need to stand out and create some kind of transformational experience for your clients. And I was wondering, like, based on, a lot of the retreats that you've seen, you must have had hosted a lot of them. What do you think really makes a given retreat really transformational for the people that attend it?
Well, I think it's profound and lasting change. And you're exactly right. 10 years ago, we could announce the Bali Bliss Yoga Retreat. And please don't name your retreat that, because that's been done a billion times. But I mean, you can do that. You could launch that, you would cast a wide net, and you would have a successful retreat. And what we were finding was people would come on these retreats and truly have that week of bliss in Bali, but then return home and get back in their old ways, and it wouldn't have a lasting effect. So at Floating Leaf, we kind of do two things. We have our own in-house retreat, which we call the Path to Happiness, where we use the Balinese culture as an example for living in the moment and genuine happiness. But then we also help and host other retreat leaders come here and create their own retreats with us. So what we found in our own retreats, and we also help to guide our retreat leaders in this direction if they would want to, are ways to make this profound and lasting change. So we need to really holistically find out about our participants. So it's usually a team of wellness experts. There's not only yoga instruction, but there is, depending on the retreat, there's several other modalities as well. So we kind of use this holistic method. And each of those wellness practitioners speak with each other about how they can best approach that individual and help them with lasting change. We also provide them with a guidebook for when they leave. So 3 months out, you maybe want to focus on this. 6 months out, you want to focus on this. And we have online group meetings as well, or chat boards where people can come if they're stuck and ask a question, and the professionals can answer that, and the community can answer that as well. they can share their successes. It's been a year now, and I've been the happiest I've ever been, and my family really appreciates that. I thought this was a gift for me, but it really was a gift for my family and my loved ones and things like this. And it's really a supportive group, and it keeps this learning continuing. It's really easy to kind of lose that when you're in this beautiful, luxurious place and have staff waiting on you hand and foot and all this. And then you go back and you got the kids and your work and all this. It's easy to forget what you learned. So that's where we really focus as well. It's not about the time you're with us, but it's also about the rest of your life.
That's awesome and brilliant advice, I think. And a lot of the people that are listening to the summit are coaches or healers or yogis, and maybe that's a good opportunity to do a follow-up program, because like make an offer on the back end where you have additional support for 3 months, 6 months, a year program where you help people really implement what they've experienced at their retreat. I mean, do you typically recommend doing something like that?
I think it depends on the retreat. But I do see that as being really beneficial. I mean, that's, we're a unique niche where we are wellness and yoga. Certainly there's other places that do that around the world, but it's not about coming to Bali and partying and having a great time and meeting some new people and all that. It's really about affecting positive change in your life and being happy, being in the moment. And, yeah, that's what we focus on. And not all retreats are like that. And not all retreats should be like that. And, we host a little bit of each.
Nice. So we've already kind of mentioned that, there's so many people doing retreats these days. And so I would love to know, based on what you've seen in your experience, what do you think are some good tips for designing the perfect retreat that stands out amongst the rest? Because there's just so many out there that you can get lost in the sea of retreats. How do you really design a retreat that stands out?
Well, I can't give you all of our tips. We really do a great deal in working with our retreat leaders and having one-on-one sessions with them and helping them develop marketing and promotional strategies and pricing structures and perks and giveaways and what the biggest pitfalls are and how to avoid those. But I can tell you that, as we've alluded to already, that the retreat market has changed substantially in the last decade. Like we said, you could market the Bali Bliss Yoga Retreat 10 years ago. Now what I see happening is really counterintuitive. Whereas you would think in marketing a retreat, you would want to cast a wide net and reach everybody and welcome everybody and do all you can to fill the retreat. But what we're finding is that the more specific that you can be, the more successful that you will be. And what I mean by that is, so we have this Path to Happiness retreat. But what we've done is start to hyper market that. So it's the Path to Happiness retreat for high net worth individuals, for cancer survivors, for caregivers, that type of thing. And that helps in so many ways. It helps to cut through the clutter, as you mentioned, because somebody reads through, okay, yoga bliss, blah, 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 whatever. And then they see Path to Happiness for cancer survivors. That's me. This one speaks to me. That's what I need to do. I'm going to do this one. It helps in that respect, but it also helps in marketing, which I find to be really interesting. So instead of doing this shotgun marketing and marketing to everybody, you find out who you're marketing to, where they hang out, which Facebook groups they're in, who are the tastemakers in that. And then you can oftentimes cut your marketing budget in half or lower because you're marketing directly to the people that you want to be attracting. So it's really counterintuitive. You would think to market to everybody, but we found that there's other methods to go about it as well.
Yeah, absolutely. I couldn't agree more, because I've seen that, heard that, experienced that. When you really get clear about who you are, who your unique gift, what your unique gifts are, and how you want to share that with your clients, and then designing your retreat to do that so that it's really targeted is just, it tends to be very successful. So it's nice to hear you say that. It's kind of confirmation with what I've been hearing. So the next question I want to ask you about is kind of sales and marketing related. So a lot of people who are listening to this may be thinking, gosh, deposits for retreat centers are so high. How do I know I'm going to be able to sell spots and fill my retreat? And so I would love for you to share with us, how do you go about helping your clients with selling spots and filling their retreats?
Well, Courtney, the reason I was so happy that you had asked me to participate in this summit was because I think that we really have something to offer to your audience. Obviously, we've studied the marketplace and we know a lot of what happens at other retreat centers. And we can safely say that we assist our retreat leaders more than any other retreat center in the world. And I think that's a great place for perhaps some of your novice retreat leaders to start, because some of our, actually it's interesting, in the last few months, we've had several retreat leaders after their retreat approach me and say that now they feel like they have a PhD in leading retreats. We help so much with the nascent stages of the retreat, the itinerary creation, the logistics, and then once the retreat is confirmed, we help with marketing and promotional strategies. And we have a lot of one-on-ones with the leaders as to where they might start their pricing, what type of specials, giveaways, perks, inclusions, all that kind of thing. And then, as I mentioned before, we see certain pitfalls that arise. So we say, okay, well, this may lead to this, or this may lead to this. And we help the leader make the right decisions, understand the logistics on ground, understand the communications in their promotions and marketing. And we feel that that's a great help. We also do an enormous amount of marketing and promotions on our own. So it's difficult to monitor it exactly, but as best as we can see, we probably account for 60% of the sales in our retreats for our retreat leaders. We don't charge for that. We don't take a commission for that. Their success is our success. And we have a really honed marketing and promotional system in place. So we make a web page for them, and we use that as the central hub for marketing. And we've had great success with that. Our track record is excellent. So it's a wonderful place for first-time or novice retreat leaders to start, because we share so much with them, and then they take that knowledge and then they do retreats all over the world. We hope when they come back to Bali, they come and do retreats with us, which actually happens almost all of the time. We're building this wonderful community of retreat leaders that come back year and year again. Some do 4 or even 5 retreats with us a year. And we love that. We love working with people that we really enjoy, that share the same ethos, that get what we do and try to promote in that same manner. And yeah, we're building a really wonderful community here of retreat leaders, and it's beautiful.
It sure is. It sounds awesome. So when you work with your clients, some of the people, the experts have been sharing in the summit about, their strategies for doing the sales and marketing part of it. Some have said you should grow your email list and market to that, get exposure on social media. So do you typically recommend that your clients do that kind of on their own, like grow their own list and their own following, and do that in addition to, what you do, putting it on your site and marketing it through your own methods?
Absolutely, that's essential. And we discuss many ways to do that with our leaders. And we like to be very clear that this is a business. This is a very lucrative business. And it takes some work, some effort, some planning, and some organization. We can't do it on our own. We need the retreat leader to also be active. We give them all of the tools that they'll need, but they need to follow up on that. I think we make it relatively easy, but we don't want people to think, oh, let's sign up with Floating Leaf and they're going to do everything for us and they're going to sell it out. And, that's not quite the way it works. We little, but it does. It's a job. It's a one. You meet people from all over the world, but it does take work and effort as well.
Yeah. Wow. So can you share a little bit, like a little deeper, like a little bit more on the details of the benefits of using a retreat center versus planning it yourself?
Well, I can't really speak for other retreat centers because it's a huge variety that's out there. Some provide a lot of help, some provide no help, and everywhere in between. We think we provide the most help.
Hmm.
But I would suggest choosing a retreat center that is going to help promote your retreat. If you're just getting started in this business, you may not have a large email list. You may not have a big social media presence. So you want to partner with somebody who has some clout, who has some reach, who has some influence that can help you and is willing to help you. Are they going to put your retreat on their website? Are they going to
Hmm.
actively market and promote that for you? Or are you just basically another guest that's coming to stay at their hotel? What support are they giving you? And it's not only that part of it. It's also once you arrive, you want to make sure that your guests feel safe and welcome and that every need that they have is attended to. Many of these people are in need of healing. Many of these people are traveling halfway around the
Hmm.
world. Maybe it's their first time in Asia or whatever the location is. So we offer big warm welcomes. We are very close to each of the participants. We listen to them. We try to understand why they're with us, and then we provide support to them every day. And so you want a retreat center that is your teammate. You want a retreat center that's going to be there with you. A lot of people just rent a villa and have a retreat there, and that's fine for many purposes. But what we find is you need that local support. I have people that have lived in Bali for a year and they want to run a retreat with us, and they say, well, we're going to do all of our own transportation and excursions and whatever. I've lived here for 8 months. I know what's going on. And
Hmm.
so 9 times out of 10, we have to bail them out. Their transportation doesn't show up, or it's a tiny car for 20 people, or
Oh my
we've been
goodness.
at this for a decade. All of our employees are Indonesian or Balinese. They know the shortcuts. They know when there's a ceremony happening. There's a lot of little things that happen in Bali that really don't happen in many other places. And it's crucial to understand that and to be able to come up with solutions on the fly for situations like that. So you want a retreat center that has local expertise, understands all the logistics, and that's willing to help you and be flexible. For instance, we'll have our itinerary planned with our leader, but the beach closest to us is a sacred beach, and there's oftentimes incredible ceremonies there. And we don't
Hmm.
know that ahead of time, certainly not months ahead. So when the retreat group is here, I'll meet with them and say, okay, tomorrow we have this in this plan, but there's going to be this wonderful ceremony on the beach. So there'll be 1,000 people there. It's going to be very profound and moving. We'd love your participants to attend that with us. We can switch this and this and this, and then allow for that to happen. So you want your retreat leader to be a true teammate for you and bring you new ideas, foresee problems that may occur, and help you to avoid those.
Yeah. Yeah, totally. I mean, that sounds awesome. And especially I think for newbie retreat leaders who don't have experience with a lot of these things and may not think about some of the pitfalls in advance. It's nice to have that support. So Mikaku, I would love for you to share a little bit more about what kinds of services, like your center provides, and what kind of, activities or excursions or things like that are available.
Well, we specialize in a few different things. We really like to have authentic cultural immersion. So a lot of people have heard about Ubud, but Ubud is really crowded and polluted and loud, and there's not much Bali left in Ubud, sadly to say. So we're in a real traditional seaside village that we're very strategically located here. We're just 40 minutes from the airport, 20 minutes to Ubud, 15 minutes to Sanur, that is another tourist spot. So we're close to these tourist spots where we can go in and experience them, but we come back to this secluded, beautiful oasis and really get to experience the real Bali. So instead of a dance performance put on for tourists, we
Hmm.
like to take our guests to an authentic ceremony, or we encourage there to be a charitable component to all of our retreats. So we go to a school or an orphanage or a village that's in need of help, and we hold each other's babies and we see how they live and we cry together and we bond. And it's when I hear back from participants that have been with us years ago, it's some of those moments that are most profound. We don't do that many yoga teacher trainings, for example, because to come all the way to Bali and to do yoga all day, every day, and not experience the profound majesty of Bali. I don't want to oversell it, but Balinese Hinduism doesn't happen anywhere else in the earth. And it's so unique and sacred and mystical. And I could tell stories all day of things that I've seen here that I just can't believe actually happened. And our guests tell those same stories. So it's a special place. We like to include the special elements of Bali in our retreats, and we have a lot of exclusive experiences that nobody else is doing in order to do that. So that's one of the many things that I think we do that makes us unique.
Wow, that sounds amazing. I can't wait. I can't wait to host a retreat there.
We got to
And the
get to
pics,
there.
I know the pictures online are just like so you guys, I was telling him before we started this interview, I was like, I just went and looked online at the photos of your center, and it is just absolutely gorgeous. I definitely want to host a retreat there, so you're gonna have to check out the website. I was checking out a lot of pictures on TripAdvisor as well, and it was just like fantastic. But yeah, so I would love to take this opportunity to share with you what Mikaku is offering today for his free gift. It's going to be a free retreat leader handbook and a 10% discount on your entire retreat. What an incredible offer. So Floating Leaf has designed a thorough and complete guide for retreat leaders who want to run their most successful, lucrative, and profound retreats. Can you tell us a little bit about this, Mikaku, and what's in this guide that you've got?
Well, it's a free guide for your listeners. They can sign up on our website, balifloatingleaf.com, receive the Retreat Leader Handbook. And admittedly, it has a lot of great information, but the real learning comes once you've signed up and once we have our one-on-ones. And that's where even more knowledge comes. But in this handbook, it discusses a lot of the pitfalls, like a simple thing like checking your spam mailbox. We had one retreat leader many years ago, and we were sending them, people would come to our website and wanted to join their retreat, and we would send them to this nice woman, and we sent 20 or 30 who were ready to sign up. And then it came time for her retreat and said, I don't have any signups yet. I'm so sorry. I don't know what's going on. And I just couldn't figure out what happened. Asked her to check her spam folder, and there were 80 messages of people ready to sign up. So there's 100 little things like this that you might not think about that many are listed in this handbook. And it talks a great deal about Bali specifically, but also holding retreats in general, how to prepare for that. So there's two stages. There's the stage of creation and marketing and promotions, but then there's the stage of actually running the retreat as well.
Right.
And so we talk about both of those aspects and provide a lot of tips and education on how to do that effectively.
That sounds fantastic. So if you guys are listening and you really resonate with what Mikaku has shared today, and you want to get your hands on that free retreat leader handbook and a 10% discount on your entire retreat, you can click on, there's going to be a button just below this audio file that you can click on and get access to that. So Mikaku, they're supposed to use the code, is it retreat hyphen or dash summit? Is it all caps?
As long as it's even close to that, even if they say I'm with Courtney, as long as I can know that it came from this summit, we're more than happy to give 10% off. Absolutely.
Okay. So if they want to book their retreat, they would just call or contact you guys and use the code retreat-summit to receive 10% off their retreat. Is that right?
Yeah, go to the link at balifloatingleaf.com. There's a link there with the Retreat Leader Handbook. Sign up for that, and I will then email along with that handbook all of our information about running retreats. There's a special section of the website only for retreat leaders that they can access with that as well. And then we work with them every step of the way to craft their retreat. We have 3 basic packages that are kind of like jumping off points, but really all of our retreats tend to be customized. I want to understand what the leader is about, the experience that they want to provide, and then I suggest any number of activities and excursions and inclusions that they may want. So we work with them to price that out so that it reaches the price point that they're looking for, and move forward from there.
That sounds awesome. So again, if you guys want to get your hands on that, the Retreat Leader Handbook, click on the button just below this audio file and use the code retreat dash or hyphen summit to receive 10% off your next retreat. Thank you so much, Mikaku. This has been awesome. It's been really informative. Your center looks really, really amazing. And I know that a lot of the audience is going to be excited to host retreats there. So thank you so much for joining us.
Courtney, I was honored to be included in your summit. I think it's a long time coming. I'm so happy this is happening. It's such a wonderful experience for leaders, and there's very few resources. So I'm thrilled at your work and the wonderful things that you're doing, and it's just a great honor to be included in it. So thank you very much, and thank you to the listeners, and come check us out in Bali.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Definitely want to come check you out in Bali. So thank you so much, everyone, for joining us for this interview as part of the Transformational Retreats Summit series.